It's
Heck
my
yeah,
garage. Yeah, I got
man.
great. I got my garage door open here. It's a spectacular day, not a cloud in the sky, and I'm down in Jupiter, Florida. So
It's
where
a
are you at?
Charlotte, North Carolina, man.
I love it. I love it. I love
Home of
fun.
the
I tell you, Cornelius.
home of
Yeah,
the
Cornelius.
Panthers.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Panthers. We're pretty close to picking Vinny up, right during the spring league, and he got a plantar fascia injury, so that ended that. So we're chasing the dream. So we're
Hey,
ready to go.
he's got the heart of you, man. He's gonna
Yeah,
make it.
yeah, he's well. How about my wife? My wife's got a pretty big heart too. Yeah, he's a gamer. Yeah, he's got game, and he's really doing well up there. So they start the season on when they start the season. They started Easter Sunday, so we're getting all. I'm going to Chicago this week to sign autographs. I'll be with Rudy and a few of the bunch of the guys that made movies, and then where am I heading after that? I'm heading to Phoenix to give a speech, and then on Easter Sunday, going up and see my little boy play football. It's going to be pretty cool.
You a busy guy, man.
Yeah, we got
It's
busy,
been a
man. With the pandemic, I mean, whoever knew about stuff like Zooms? To me, Zoom was, a jet flying over top of my head. Now it's a vehicle for communication. So
definitely, man.
Zooms. I like your mic. That's pretty cool. So what room's that you have? Is that your studio you built?
Yeah. With
Yeah,
all
cool.
my Patriot stuff, I'm a big Patriot fan.
That's all right. As long as you're not a Cowboys fan. I wouldn't have done it if you're a Cowboys fan. Just kidding. Just
Well,
kidding.
Vince, let's get it on the road, man.
Let's go.
How did you get involved with football as a kid?
Well, I just got involved. My dad was a big Eagles fan. He was a semi-pro football player, actually, back in the day before World War II. My mom was a great athlete. She actually played hardball, and she traveled up and down the country playing baseball before World War II. So I have two parents that were big fans, and we lived in a housing project that was built on a golf course. Our backyard was a fairway from the golf course that they just left untouched, and we were all boomer kids, right before the war. After the war, we all got together, and all we used to do was think we were Philadelphia Eagles, New York Yankees, the Philadelphia Phillies, and I had a love for football. And there was this little guy that played for the Eagles when I was about 10 or 12. His name was Tommy McDonald, and now he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was sort of like my idol. And I said to my dad, Dad, I want to play football so bad, but we didn't have a football team in our community. It was suburban Philadelphia. It was about 10 miles outside of Philly, just between the Philly and the Delaware border, and right off the river. And so my dad started the team. He started a football team called the Glendale Indians, for crying out loud. We're maroon and gold, and a bunch of volunteers came together, and all the guys and the kids in the community came together, and we formed that team up until I got up into junior high school. I wasn't even 100 pounds all the way through junior high school. We didn't have middle school, and that stuff was 7th to 9 was junior high school, and then high school was 10 to 12. And I wasn't even 5 feet tall, 100 pounds. So the coaches told me that I was too small until finally I got a shot when I was a senior in high school when I grew up. But I always had football in the blood. Football was my love, and I had that one guy, Tommy McDonald, and I just said if I could only meet him and then to become one of his friends, and to see him go into the Hall of Fame was pretty exciting. So that was it. And then I grew up in the suburban Philadelphia area, and they were my team. And I was season ticket holder for 10 years from when I was a freshman, junior in college at St. Joe's in Philly. Great basketball program, but we didn't have football. I went to college on a track scholarship, ZACK, and a pole vault scholarship. And as they say, and then I went back to my school, and I taught school at my high school, and became a football coach, head track coach. And then the tryout came, and I was 30 years old, no college football, track guy. And Dick Vermeil loved it. And I got, after the tryout, which you see in the movie, it was pretty much like that. After the tryout, I signed a contract like 15 minutes later. Like the movie had it, as soon as the tryout was over, everybody sort of dispersed. Well, I actually dressed in the locker room, which was really cool because I'm in the locker room of all guys that are my idols, and here I wind up being their teammate a year, about 6 months later. But when I got down there, the athletic trainer said they want to see you up in the front office. And when I walked past Coach Vermeil's office, he said, "Great workout, Vince. I'll see you later." And darn if I didn't sign a $21,000 contract to be a Philadelphia Eagle. And then I started training. I trained 4 or 5 hours a day with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play, and that was Roman Gabriel. He was from not St. Louis Rams.
The Rams.
Rams, yeah. And movie star, he played Cochise in the movies. I mean, it was wild. And I loved this guy, and I can't believe that he becomes my battery mate, my best friend, as we're going through training camp. And and then you say you're down in Charlotte. Well, my teammate and roommate, number 53, Dennis Franks, he finally settled at Charlotte Cornelius, and we just had this we had this pact that we were going to help each other out and get through this. In the movie, they had him a little bit of an adversary in the beginning, but all along we were best of friends and roommates during training camp. So that, to make a short story long, that's how it happened. And then the movie came along 16 years ago, actually 20 years ago almost now.
Definitely. How did they approach you to do a movie?
I wrote several books. I'd written a book about my playing days. My wife Janet and I wrote a book, and Janet's we'll talk about that in a second. And but everybody thinks like Rookie and a lot of other, that they all came because of the book. Actually, what happened was I was always called the real life Rocky, Zachary, and so Rocky came out in '77. I was a rookie in '76, and but I had that Rocky name. So in 2002, Rocky, the character Rocky, is turning 25, and Warner Brothers, who did the movie, and the NFL wanted to honor that, and they said, what better way to honor it with the real life Rocky, as they called me. I'm not saying that, they did it. And so on Monday Night Football, and Ron Jaworski, one of my best friends now, teammates, and was Stuart Scott, were the co-hosts to turn on Monday Night Football. Then it was the Eagles playing the 49ers, and they showed this 5-minute feature. It's on YouTube, and if anybody wants to watch it. Next day, Hollywood was calling, Zachary. And then eventually, to make the long story short, Disney outbid all the other studios to get the rights to a script that was written by Ken Mock and Brad Gann. And then there we went. And then the guys that wound up doing the movie was Mark Ciardi and Gordon Gray. And they're the same guys that did Rookie and Miracle prior to our movie. They eventually went on to do The New Guy, Game Plan, Secretariat. And my buddy, Underdog, the Underdog movie that's out there right now. Mark Ciardi did that movie as well. So they had a pedigree, and Disney jumped on it. Mark Wahlberg became me in 2004. We filmed in 2005. We were best friends then. We're best friends now. In 2006, right around Labor Day, it came out and ran #1 in the post office. In the box office, and there it is. That little baby right there just changed my life. Pretty crazy, man.
Definitely, man. That's a killer movie. I've seen it several times. So, in your opinion, what was the hardest part about the NFL? And when you were trying out, how did you calm the nerves of one of your biggest dreams of playing in the NFL? How did you calm the nerves, and what did you do to help calm them?
Well, it was mostly by hard work and confidence that I could do what I did. The only time I really got nervous, actually, Zachary, is the training camp, the first training camp in '76. Dick Vermeil started it right before the 4th of July, which was unheard of. And because he was a new coach, he was allowed to have his training camp start a week early. So what he did is he brought in a whole bunch of free agents and rookies, and a couple draft picks. He didn't have many draft picks because they were all taken away when they traded Bill Bergey from Cincinnati before Dick got there. So I got in there with a bunch of these young guys that were pretty hungry, and they were trying to make the team. And I'm 30, they're 22, 23. But I had Roman Gabriel. There he is, Roman Gabriel, the guy I trained with for 3 months prior. He was basically my quarterback. We just killed it. And then I was coming off playing semi-pro football, those rough touch that you saw in the movie. Getting knocked around, knocking people around. And when I got out there, they're trying to take my head off me, and I'm just clobbering anything that moved that had a green jersey on, because that was the defense. So I got my confidence in. I wasn't because Roman Gabriel and I just connected so well that he helped calm me. You know, I had a series of exercises and deep breathing things I do to calm me. Then I got nervous when the veterans came in the next week, actually to the point where I pulled back. And Coach Ramil saw it, and he came up to me, what are you pulling back for? He said, you're not the same guy you were last week. Are you intimidated by these guys? And I said, no, I'm in awe of them. He said, you're in awe of them. I said, you know, Coach, I'm a season ticket holder for 10 years. These guys are my idols. He said, they're your idols. He said, half of them are going to be cut by the end of the season, but before the season starts. He said, they were 2-12 last year, for Christ's sake. He said, they're your idols? He said, you better pick new idols, dude, basically. And he said, get your head out of your butt. You're out of here. I'll give you 2 weeks. Whew, that's all I needed to hear. So, and then we had a preseason game in between. I made a couple catches to get a couple first downs when I read the defense, zone to man, and a lot of guys are having difficulty doing that. And then I got a reprieve, got another couple weeks. So, you know, it's just because I was doing really well, and each week I kept improving, and I was getting encouragement from the head coach. I never really had a case of the nerves until the first game against the Dallas Cowboys. And then, you know, here we are in Texas.
Shock and awe.
And vertigo. I mean, it was crazy.
Definitely. That star could do it for you.
We'll do it, yeah. Especially with Paul Jones, Harvey Martin, you know, Staubach and Randy White. And, you know, you got the coach on the other side, you know, with his fedora walking there. The heat's coming off. It's about 110 degrees. You got the cheerleaders right behind you. You talk about intimidating. God almighty, it was crazy. I couldn't breathe. And in the movie, it felt like I froze, you know, but I didn't. I did on that first kickoff. At first, I slowed up a little bit because I'd never heard anything like that ever. It didn't even compare to what it was like in the preseason. It went up a notch, you know. It went from you know, a Model A Ford to a NASCAR car, you know, in pace and intensity. And, you know, so I actually had a pretty good game, but we came back against the Giants and we lost to the Cowboys, came back against the Giants. And I had the big hit. I actually had 3 or 4 initial hits in that game. And I got invited to my first team party right after that was over. And that's when I was accepted. So it was pretty cool, man.
Definitely, man. So my next question about your NFL journey, how did Dick Vermeil slow the game down for you personally?
He didn't slow it down. I didn't have any problem with the speed of the game. You know, I even in the preseason, that rookie year, I led the team in receiving touchdowns, and I led the team in receptions. You know, so I was a track guy. You know, so you know everything was, and I played in a bunch of these rough touch leagues and semi-pro world league. So the speed of the game never affected me, and I was able to make all the adjustments. You know, one of my strengths wasn't, you know, it's the same thing my son Vinny does. He has situational awareness. I had that. I could come off the line of scrimmage and look at the corner. I look at whether it's strong or weak side linebacker. I look at the safety. I look at the corner. And within one stride, I could tell whether it was covered from cover 1 to cover 9, you know, with all the variations in between. And it was one of the few receivers that could do that, which frustrated coach. I didn't get a lot of chances to play. You know, in practice and all that stuff. I was the captain of the scout team, and I felt I have a really big role there. But you know, exactly the speed of the game never really affected me. You know, it happened, and you just roll with it. The only way you're going to survive in anything, you've got to be able to analyze what's going on
and adjust,
and then get it done, man. Win the day.
Definitely, man.
Like I'm telling Vinny. Right now, up there, I said, every day you do something that is they're going to just wow the coaches that they talk about it. And then he sent me a video yesterday of a bomb he took where it released off the line of scrimmage, beat the guy by 3 yards, had to make the adjustment to the outside because it was an over-the-shoulder catch, and he made it for a touchdown. And I said, were they talking about it in the film that night? He said, yeah, Dad. I said, you got to do that every day. You got to do that every day, win the day. So, you know, that's it. You know, so speed never got me, and I really wasn't intimidated by anyone. You know, I was a pole vaulter, and so you know, I did some pretty crazy things back in the day. But you know, a lot of people thought nobody intimidated me, and we were allowed to. It was a different game back then, Zachary. We could block below the waist. We could come from the outside, do a crack back. Linebackers wouldn't even see us if they did a flip. You know, they just did a toss sweep on, let's say, the left side, and I'm coming on the weak side. That poor weak side linebacker wouldn't even see me coming right in with my helmet in his sternum. You know, I had more decreators than you can imagine. You just go whoop, You can't do that anymore. So given the way the rules are now, and you can't block below the waist, the way the rules are now, I probably wouldn't even come close to making it. But hey, different rules for different fools.
Definitely.
Every advantage of everything, just every day. But what's really cool? We trained at Widener University, Widener College back then, and it was only 8 miles from where I grew up, where I was teaching school. So my dad, all his buddies from Westinghouse used to come to all the practices. All the guys I played semi-pro football with, the touch leagues, they all came. My students, the kids that I coached, they're all coming. So every time I catch a pass, even if it was just against air, the crowd would go out of their mind. And Vermeil would look around, wondering what the crowd's cheering for, and it would be me. And I would sprint back to the line of scrimmage. Coach see me sprinting. I was always running at least 3/4 speed. So that's why I said, the speed of the game never affected me, because I was always going one step ahead of the other guy. In between drills, the horn would go off, and everybody, I'd sprint there, and I'd be the first guy there, just get down on my knee. And
definitely. So Vince, my next question: life after football for you, the trials and tribulations of the game. How have you applied those things to your personal life?
Well, you just have to surround yourself with a good team. I came out. I was doing broadcasting in Philadelphia. I had an opportunity to go network, and it didn't work out. It was a little political thing with my contract I couldn't get out of. So, and then I got into sales and marketing, and it was doing very well. But I go by the mantra, and I went through a divorce, and I go through the mantra that you just surround yourself with good, positive people, and you believe in yourself. You can just about get through anything. I'm celebrating my 21st anniversary of surviving colon cancer. So that was, people say, what's one of the biggest hits you've ever taken? That was a pretty big one. When my Gabriella when Vinny was 3, Gabriella was 6. Now they're 25 and 28. And, so that's it. And believe in yourself and have a game plan and be able to adjust, and at the end, when I give my presentations, I show the final scene in the movie with a Czech Zorro, the big hit at the end. And that whole thing, I just call it entitled Analyze, Adapt, and Achieve, like I mentioned earlier. You look at what your opponent is, making sure it's not your own worst opponent. You make your adjustments, get it done, and then finally, make your adjustments. They're your pivots, they're your audibles, your Czech Zorros, and something in my refrigerator, my garage here. And the other thing is just get it done, man. Get into the end zone. Whatever it is, whatever that task or opponent is. And just, again, I win the day. And a lot of that just came about because of what we just all going through with COVID right now. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You don't know what's going on now over on the other side of the world, what's going to happen and how that's going to affect us. So you just got to take care of what you need to take care of today and make sure that you plan for tomorrow and make a difference today with tomorrow in mind. Never give up tomorrow, but today is the most important day in your life. And that's how I practice it. My wife, Janet, who was a world-class gymnast, a coach at the University of Pennsylvania, a realtor. Janet's world-renowned in gymnastics. In the movie, they have her a Giants fan because we needed the NFL's endorsement. And they wanted her to be that. So we acquiesced and compromised and said, okay, which makes it a lot of fun.
That's a big compromise, man.
Yeah,
a big one.
It's a lot of fun. When I give my presentation and I have it in, on slides, like all these things behind me, and I put that right there of her wearing that USA jersey. It's pretty cool. And I mess with the Giants fans and Cowboy fans everywhere I go. I have a good time with it. Because now the pandemic's opened up, I'm not having to Zoom like I must have done 150 of them during the pandemic. Every other day I was doing one just to stay in the game. And, like look at Zoom now. You've got your podcast with us, which is really cool. So I can
definitely, man.
Doing just like that. So,
heck, it's opened up a lot of doors for sure.
Good. And your door, and I admire you because I was telling my daughter Gabrielle, and she says, who's the Zachary guy? I said, he's a guy that had enough guts to reach out to me and say that he thought I was somebody special. And I said, Gab, I'm just your dad. I said, but it takes a lot of guts for Zachary to do that. And because of that, the reward is if you think I'm entitled to be, not entitled, but I'm good enough to be in your podcast, here I am. And I think that takes a lot of guts. So that says something about you.
Hey, it's a journey, and it happens every day. I reach out to at least 50 athletes a day. So
Yeah, it's a journey too. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
Disney will offer me a little contract to do a
Yeah.
movie. That'd be
Oh,
killer.
yeah. Life's a journey, not a destination. I think I heard somebody say that one time.
Definitely. Well, my
Yeah.
last question, brought to you by B&D Sports Media. How big of a acquisition was Hurts to the Eagles, the
I put,
quarterback?
it's
You
just
were
it's an experiment right now. I'm not quite sure. I would have liked to have seen the other quarterback, Gardner, just a little bit more, just to see what's going on. There was nothing to lose. The Eagles, they gave it a good run, give it a lot of credit, and but right now, he needs a supporting cast, and Jalen's got a fantastic talents, but there's some weaknesses in the game that anybody that knows the game would understand. And there's a lot of strengths, more strengths than weaknesses. And the NFL is brutal, And he needs a little bit of support, and hopefully, from the receiver end of things, and the defense they're making a lot of great moves in the offseason. So it'll be a lot of fun to watch. He's a great kid. I just respected him so much when he was in college, and from what I know of him and hear of him, he's a real team player. So I hope he comes around. It's because they're my Eagles, But then there's Doug Peterson, that's one of my best friends, and he's up in Jacksonville right now. So I'll be focusing a lot on what's going on in Jacksonville. He lives right around the corner from us here down in Jupiter. Yeah.
heck yeah, man. Hey, he's got another good quarterback, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah. So and I would have liked would have been interesting to see. It just wasn't right in Philadelphia. All that was going on with Carson was there, and the locker room was a little bit scuffed up, and just that chemistry, the team chemistry that they had with the Super Bowl, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, and anybody can surmise on what happened, but it wasn't there. And when you don't have chemistry within the locker room, you've got issues. And the chemistry was missing. And it seems now that they've made some moves. Seems there's a better chemistry there. You've got Jason Kelsey coming back, which to me means so much because he's a solidifier in that locker room. And Brandon Graham, hopefully he'll be able to come back. We'll see. But they've got some pretty good veterans that are going to be coming. So we'll see. But
You got your defensive tackle got re-signed too.
Yeah.
Fletcher
So
Cox.
they've got Fletcher. It's good, and and you've got a pretty solid offensive line now. And but what Jalen really needs to do is to sit back there, trust his instincts, and trust his call, and move around a little bit with that ball, and instead of just if the first read's not their second read, just take him off. But that's all part of the process. And a lot was put on his shoulders last year, and God bless him, and let's hope he goes, because they're my Eagles from the time I could remember watching and loving football.
Definitely. So Vince, let's end on this. Where can my audience find you on social media?
Well, they can find me. I got off Twitter because I'm afraid I'd probably get canceled if I stayed on there. Let me see. Vince Papale 83 on Instagram. I guess probably the best way to do it. I'm going to be starting almost a daily thing on what it takes to be invincible, coming out with some of my quotes and things in my book. I wrote this. There's this book right here. It's called The Last Laugh, and that's from Vision to Victory. That's in Amazon.com, and the guy that's on there, Denny Franks, number 53 from the movie I lost in October. He was living in Cornelius, and I lost my best friend, my children's godfather and roommate. Like I say, win the day, because we were together one day, and 6 days later, he wasn't around. So, you got to be so grateful for what you have. And VincePapale.com. That's my website. I'm redoing everything. My family is involved in real estate. We formed the Papale Group in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida, and they're keep an eye on Vinny Papale up there in Birmingham and the Tampa Bay Bandits. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
Go Villanova. Jay Wright, the head coach of Villanova, and I have known each other from the days that he graduated from college. I just love that guy. So, and I'm a St. Joe's Hawk. For a Hawk to say go Wildcats, this has nothing to do against North Carolina. You know, this is personal, guys. This is my love for Jay Wright. So it's all good, man.
Duke's cutting down the nets for Coach K. What are you talking about? His last hurrah.
North Carolina guy would be saying that. It's going to be a great. It's going to be a great 8. I mean, Final Four. My daughter Gabby, I just got contracted to go down there and do the entertainment show. She's heading to New Orleans on Thursday, which is cool. Yeah.
But they're probably going to give it to Duke. I'm not going to.
Everybody, come on, man. I mean, you're so ingrained being in North Carolina.
Hey, what Coach K means to this community in North Carolina.
Yeah, I know.
He's a legend.
I know. I mean, you go down the strip there. You go down Route 40. You know, and my God, you know, there's North Carolina State. There's Duke. There's Chapel. I mean, that's all there. North Carolina. You know, and then of course the country club. What they call that something point. You know, so
High Point.
High Point, yeah, that's right. Everybody wants to go if they want to go to a country club school, right? That's it's all good. You have some great stuff down there, and it's tough to compete. Let me tell you, it's tough to compete down here in Florida with just some of the facilities they have, and these are just youth facilities. Most colleges and universities wish they could have the kinds of fields and the kinds of things, and the weather is just spectacular, you know. So it's a beautiful thing. But
yeah, I like Florida.
You go root for your Tar Heels, and I'll be.
I'm not a Tar Heel fan, man. I'm a Duke fan.
I meant. You know, I just want to know one thing. Where's Ahoya?
Ahoya.
Yeah, what's Ahoya? Hoya.
I don't know.
Well, you got to look that up. Okay. We always used to have a chant when St. Joe's was playing Duke. What the heck's Ahoya? We don't know. I mean, you know, we're Hawks. What's Ahoya? So, just
it's been a blessing to have you on our show, man.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you have fun. Yeah.
You so take it easy, and
hold of. And you know, if I said anything to offend anybody, I don't mean to do that. I'm just a happy guy, cancer survivor with a beautiful family, and every day is just a gift.
Invincible, man. That's the epitome of you, man.
It's the epitome of everybody. It's all about the dreams. Just work it.
Heck yeah, man.
Wow, there's going to be that roadblock, but you can overcome it. That's what
for sure. Well, it's been a blessing to have you on our show, and we'd welcome you back for another one, my friend. Heck yeah.